It's nice to be in a podcast again with both of my sidekicks.
Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is producer Richard, and next to me is the Doctor himself.
Hello.
Each week, we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while fielding questions from listeners like you. Including, as part of those listeners, we have our joining us today.
Wow.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, shut up. The writer for DC Comics, Popverse, and host of Insert Credit. Welcome, the true expert of DC. It's Alex Jaffe.
The professor has arrived.
Seems kind of pointed. I don't know.
Oh, at who?
Huh.
Chief of Medicine.
If Jaffe starts learning a bunch of stuff about Lord of the Rings, I'm going to kill myself.
Let me tell you about the Silmarillion.
Yeah. The Third Age is really weird.
If he rewatches all of Supernatural, going to walk into the river.
Oh, I don't hate myself that much.
Oh, no.
And that's how I'll win.
Yeah.
I'll always hate myself more.
That's all of the success you've gotten in your life is because someone hates themselves.
Less
Like
than
that?
I do.
Yeah.
Like that one Star Wars Tales comic where Vader fights Darth Maul. What could you hate enough to defeat me? Myself.
Oh, yeah, that's me, I guess. Woo!
Killing
Hey,
it.
you won. You won the fight.
Yeah, but at what cost?
You.
Yeah.
The best.
Welcome back, Alex.
Oh, it's great to be here.
Before we start talking about what we're going to talk about today,
Sure.
we've got a 5-star review we need to talk about.
Hell yeah.
And
The
you
most
only-
important review we've ever gotten.
I know. We finally get to do that musical
I
miniseries.
will crush your bones to make my bread.
That's the weirdly most apt analogy for you that I've ever heard.
Yeah. This is the 200th review. This is the thing that's going to unlock the Lord of the Rings miniseries we've been promising forever.
Probably.
To quote my wife, I won't stop killing you. Don't ask why she says that.
She does say that
She
a
says
lot.
it a lot.
Yeah.
That's her favorite.
Yeah,
phrase.
it's number 200 from Google Podcast app reviews from Ryan Pigeon, who goes on to say, a great way to listen to 5-star podcasts like the Dr. DC podcast.
Yeah, it's a review of the Google Podcasts app. That's a 5-star review of us. Yeah.
It counts. I mean, look, the levels in which we've allowed things to count.
What are you talking about? The creativity.
Yeah. My favorite still has been the one where they wrote into another podcast and had them read the review.
I enjoyed that one. I also like the one where they wrote it out on pieces of paper and jammed it in books at a random library
was
or
a good
at
one.
a bookstore or whatever. I enjoyed that too.
Yeah. We've had some amazing reviews.
Yeah.
Let's look back.
Yeah. In reviewium.
Yeah. Usually you don't say how the reviews died.
You know, one thing people love hearing about on podcasts is business about that podcast.
Well, good, because we do that a lot.
It's like 40% of the show. Yeah.
It's behind the scenes.
Pretty big chunk.
Bureaucracy and banter.
By the way, have you updated the doc yet? Or
Yeah.
let's air this now.
Let's slow this part down. I don't want to miss a word of this.
Oh, good, because I've got a few things to say about our Google Sheets.
Oh, really? You finally looked at them?
You're like a scorned lover.
Well, yes.
The shoe fits.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that.
We're both full of shawarma poutines.
Yeah, there's a place in town that makes this incredible shawarma poutine, and we ate so much of it. So the energy is...
Thank God, Alex.
Listen,
Jaffe is
it's
here.
all on you, Alex.
The one set of footprints is where I carried you.
Yeah, Alex's arms are tired every single time he's on this podcast.
I got a COVID booster shot today, so I can't do too much lifting.
Right, fair enough.
Well, we're talking about DC Nation. What does that mean?
Yeah, Alex, this was what you hit me up out of the blue, just not out of the blue, we talk, but you hit me up and you were like, hey, can we do an episode about this? So why don't you speak a little bit to it, because this is clearly like it was a burning thing that you had to get off your chest.
Right. So in 2012, Cartoon Network had this programming block in kind of the vein of Toonami and others called DC Nation, where the idea was for like an hour or two every week, they would air just animated DC content. There would be original shorts, there would be new animated series, and it would be this programming block devoted specifically to DC animation. Now, this was very exciting to me because I've always been a strong believer that the best way to adapt any DC property is animation, and seeing the commitment to this as someone who grew up on, say, Batman the Animated Series,
right,
was very encouraging. It looked like we might be entering like a new golden age of animated DC programming.
Right.
And we got a lot of cool, eclectic stuff out of it. All these different cartoon shorts that never would have seen the light of day anywhere else otherwise. We saw the birth of two incredibly popular series in very different sections of the fandom. We saw the only Green Lantern show ever made.
Yeah.
And we saw a Batman show that everybody hated before even seeing it, and actually turned out pretty great, except you wouldn't know if you never gave it a
I didn't
chance.
know there was a Green Lantern show.
I stumbled on Beware the Batman by accident, and I was like, I have no idea what this is, but I'm fascinated. And I watched it, and I was like, I love this show. And then years later, I just hear people be like, oh, that stupid show, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like nobody watched this.
The thing about Beware, I mean, we'll get into each of these. The four shows that were launched on the DC Nation block, which aired from 2012 through 2013, were Young Justice, Green Lantern the Animated Series,
Huge.
Beware the Batman, and Teen Titans Go, the juggernaut of the station, which dominates to this day. That
totally
came out of DC Nation. In fact, it started in the first year of DC Nation as part of the shorts collection. There were these Teen Titans Go shorts that were just like these little 1-minute jokey episodes with the same cast as the 2003 Teen Titans series.
Yeah.
It was very cute, and it did very well. And they're like, what if we made this into a whole show? And they did. And it's still going to this day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that Green Lantern animated series was like, both it and Beware the Batman were like 3D animated.
Yeah, which he had never really done before. The Green Lantern animated series, Bruce Timm was involved in that. As a producer. But so was Giancarlo Volpe, who you might know from Avatar: The Last
Airbender.
Yes, yeah.
And The Clone Wars. And
great show.
GLTAS is a fantastic series, which gives you Hal Jordan, gives you Kilowog. It gives you an original Red Lantern named Razor who joins the group and falls in love with basically the energy behind the Green Lantern itself. Incarnated as a robot, which takes the form of his dead wife. It's a very strange series.
Wow, I love that.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
One DC Nation under Kilowog.
Yeah. There's an entire episode where their rings break, so they can't talk to each other because the rings have been auto-translating this whole time, and they have to get by in their own individual alien languages.
Yeah,
it's such a terrific series, and it's one that was overshadowed by Young Justice, which came out at the same time, which kind of deservedly, I guess, had a much bigger fan base at the time. Because I don't think any animated show, even Justice League Unlimited, even whatever you throw at me, has ever presented a cohesive idea of an entire DC universe like Young Justice has.
It's true.
So I guess this is why the like Batman show is probably seen as like the worst one? Because I mean, look at the other three.
The Batman show, I mean, we'll get into it, but I think I'll just say this right now. The other reason I think people hated on the Batman show is that it deliberately avoided all of his main villains.
Oh, really?
Yes. They stayed away from all of the main Batman adversaries, and they were bringing in like basically the outsiders, like Katana's in there, Metamorpho was in there. They were doing like weird stuff with like God, what's his name? Silver Monkey and like
they fight Professor Pig. They fight Humpty Dumpty. They fight Magpie. They fight Tobias Whale, who's awesome in the series. And the thing about Beware the Batman is that it's more action oriented than any Batman series ever. The choreography is incredible.
Yeah, pretty wild.
But in order to make that happen, the character designs are very simplified. They're very sleek. And when they're standing still, as they are in all the promotional material, it looks really ugly.
Yeah.
So in all of the promotional stuff leading up to Beware the Batman, everyone's like, what is this garbage? I can't watch this. But it looks so much better when you see it moving. But
totally.
By the time it started airing, the audience was gone. Cartoon Network shoved it into a slot nobody could possibly see it in, as the DC Nation block kind of fell apart. And
this looks like shit.
It's something we'll never see again.
Yeah, this looks like shit. I'm looking at the
the stills.
Yeah,
it does. It really does look like shit, but animated, it's beautiful.
It was really cool. It's a very, very cool show.
It has a very strange take on Alfred as kind of this like Jason Statham-y badass.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was very against that at first until at the end of the series.
All right, Batman.
It creates this very interesting dynamic. Yeah, it's kind of like your evil Alfred in cartoon form. If that's what sells you on the series, then that's what causes you to watch it. But as the series wraps up, it becomes clear that Deathstroke is being set up as Batman's adversary. Because Alfred was originally his partner. What happened was they conflated Alfred and Bill Wintergreen.
Yeah, Wintergreen.
Into the same character. And that's such a cool idea.
Yeah, I like
a series that exists in its own continuity. It's like, oh, and now badass Alfred makes sense because he's both of their partners. Yeah. And it just kind of justified itself that way. They really did dirty by Lady Shiva. That's my only complaint about the series. Barbara Gordon is really cool in it as Oracle.
I feel like we're talking so much about it. Why don't we start getting into the questions?
We did. We got lots of questions.
We got lots of questions. Okay. I'm really excited about Beware the Batman because that's the one of the four that nobody really cares about. There was no campaign to get it renewed.
Yeah, that's right.
No buzz about it online, and it's got a kick-ass theme song. And
it's the one Batman thing everyone just let die.
Yeah.
Wow.
I rewatched it this year with my friend Wade, and he's like, I can't believe they never gave this a chance. So right up top, I'm going to say, if there's one thing you take away from this episode, watch Beware the Batman. It's on HBO Max. It's only like 24 episodes.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to listen to the rest of this episode.
Well, you can still.
No, it's go.
Wow.
Let's answer some questions.
All right. Well, we're going over to Facebook first.
Go into the face in the book. Go into the Facebook.
First question. Hey, look, and Alex didn't have to do it this time, so that's good.
Alex loves it.
I do love it, but I won't endorse Facebook.
Fair. Absolutely. We do.
I will.
This is part of the metaverse.
I can be bought.
First question comes from Braden Ketty, who asks, personally, I have a love-hate relationship with the Young Justice series, particularly its dialogue and expositional delivery. In your opinion, what strengths and weaknesses does the show have?
Ooh,
strength number one is world building. If Greg Weisman is good at anything, it's creating a world. Like I said when I was introducing this block, what sets Young Justice apart from everything else is the idea that Greg is able to take all of these different comic book ideas and allow them to coexist within the same continuity. But on the flip side, story and individual character often gets lost in that.
I mean, just to pile on to that sentiment, the very first episode, the pilot episode of Young Justice, does the best job of setting up the idea that there are team adventures and individual adventures, because you see the sidekicks with their heroes, with their mentors,
Fighting
and they're all fighting different ice villains. And then you see the Justice, like those heroes together going like 4 ice villains on the same day. Like that's a thing. And the heroes go off to do something, to go have a Justice League adventure. And then they are like left to, you know, they go on their own adventure because they don't want to feel like they're being babied. They discover Project Cadmus. They break out Superboy. And at the end of that 2-parter, then the Justice League comes back and says, what the hell happened here? And there's sort of this, like, there's these pockets where there's an adventure in one spot, where there's, you know, they break out into different groups and things like that. And then they come back together. And then the way that show builds like the team, because they never actually called them Young Justice, they're just called the team. The way it builds the team, the way it builds out like how the Justice League like deploys heroes tactically, like they do it with the team too. They say like, you know, like Alpha, you're these 4 or whatever, you go here. Like you get a real sense of like the structure of how they deploy heroes and who's saving what. They go like, Wonder Woman's dealing with a hurricane over here and so is doing whatever. Like that show does such a good job of being like, this entire world is active with superheroes.
I feel like Young Justice has the world's most beautiful spreadsheet behind it, showing us where every individual character is at any given time. The timeline is so cohesive. It's so well thought out. It's such an exercise in just careful planning. They seed these things that show up seasons later that they had an idea. Like it's the same thing as Weissman in Gargoyles, where he was at the very end paying off stuff that was set up at the very beginning. Like, you thought I forgot about that. And it's just like so clearly not spontaneous. It's clearly years of meticulous work that has gone into building this just cohesive ongoing story.
Totally. I mean, as far as a weakness goes, I think a slight weakness of Young Justice, kind of like what Alex was saying, is that I think because you just spend an abundance of time with these characters, there are lots of kind of moments that have some emotional pathos and things like that. But I think they lean on just you projecting stuff onto them a bit too. Like, I don't know that you necessarily, in the dialogue or in the way the show is written, I don't know that every single thing that is impactful is like earned. You know, there are whole relationships, like whole kind of romances or kind of things that like feel underdeveloped. Like anything with Nightwing, actually, anything with Robin in the first season and then Nightwing in the future seasons feels really detached from everything that's happening, like emotionally, and not in the way where it's like a character choice, but just like they forgot.
We haven't had enough screen time to develop this.
Yeah. That's my feeling on it. But I mean, I think there's a question that deals with this a little bit later, so I won't fully tread into it. But like, Young Justice is also like 2 different shows between the first 2 seasons and the last 2 seasons, and I have different opinions of it based on that. Like, I think the first 2 seasons of Young Justice, for whatever its flaws are, is like one of the best superhero cartoons ever made. I think it's incredible. And then the last 2 seasons is kind of like,
The second season especially is one that just blows me away. The way it was able to adapt that John Rogers and Keith Giffen Blue Beetle run. With this like worldwide story.
Totally.
I haven't seen anything like that in DC's show before, taking that arc and adapting it over an entire season. It's great. Totally. And the problem with 3 and 4 is there's not as much budget. It's the money issue, really. Totally. I don't think you can blame Weissman and Vietti for all of that.
Totally.
Yeah, I suppose not, other than they don't seem to be able to rein it into their budget level. They're just still trying to take a swing, and then they're just like, shit, we have no money. I guess a bunch of still frame flashbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes. All right. Well, let's go to the next question.
Sure.
From the most interesting resident.
Stephen Marion Almagro.
Of course. Who else could it be?
Well, there was also a comment from Roland Sabat, but I don't think it made it.
Who's that? I don't understand. Anyways, Stephen Marian Almagro asks, does Razor from the Green Lantern animated series deserve to jump to comics similar to how Harley became popular?
Yeah, so Razor is the Red Lantern that
Razor, I barely know her.
that Alex mentioned.
Thanks.
Is part of like the group, part of the team on
Okay.
the Green Lantern animated series. Even made a little jump over to Young Justice in season 4.
Yeah,
But the question, Alex, is: would you like to see Razor in the comics? Would you like to see him make the continuity jump in the way that Harley or Batman Beyond or Livewire or a bunch of other animated characters have done?
I'll tell you this. I like Razor a lot better than I like Rancor, the sympathetic Red Lantern from the Red Lanterns series.
That's fair.
So, yeah, if we're going to do like an exploration of the Red Lantern Corps again, which we really haven't been seeing a lot of, I feel like the Green Lantern mythos as a whole has been leaning away from the Jeff Johns multicolored lanterns because we had 10 years of that enough already.
Sure, yeah.
But if we got back into the Red Lanterns and tried to explore them from like kind of the righteous fury angle that Charles Soule was leaning into at the back half of his run, yeah, Razor would be a great perspective character for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Razor is going to make the jump, I'm going to throw this out there. I think you basically need to have Aya, like the sort of sentient, like green energy powered spaceship that they have in the show. I think you kind of have to bring Aya over because I think their relationship's pretty fundamental to Razor. Okay. So if you're going to bother to bring Razor over, I think you bring Aya in some form.
This is a pretty big spoiler for Green Lantern, the animated series, but by the end, it's pretty clear that Aya is Ion, the spirit within the Green Lantern central power battery. So you basically already have Aya in the show. It would be very easy from there to bring her in.
Yeah.
That's crazy that Green Lantern, the animated series, like
it's good. This is the craziest thing.
Anti-Monitor is in it. They fight the Anti-Monitor.
The fucking Anti-Monitor's in it. They do all of the different like color core. They bring all of that shit in there.
Episode.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Saint Walker. They do Mogo Doesn't Socialize.
Yeah. It is a wild show. It has no business being as good as it is.
I just can't stand that animation style.
I agree. It put me off as well, but the storytelling and like the dialogue, like the way that it's made is so good that it kind of makes up for what I think is sometimes kind of like lifeless animation, especially when they're flying. Yeah, it's really kind of just like gentle floating, geometric shapes.
It feels like cheap animation from like, you know what it reminds me of is a thing that Alex won't understand, but YTV in the 90s had these bumper like videos.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I know these well.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So and they they were like the like beginnings. I think they were from out of like film schools or something, but it's like the beginnings of
I know what you're talking about,
animation, and that's what it reminds me of. It's like the lowest budget.
On the other hand, Kevin Michael Richardson is Kilowog.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, you're selling me on that.
Yeah,
that's a great casting.
I mean, the fact that they did the fucking Anti-Monitor, and I was like, wait, what?
I know.
And just like
great,
full on.
That's crazy
with the crazy like the Perez like armor and everything like that. Like, oh wow, it's incredible.
They go for it. It's great.
Weird.
Yeah,
love that shit.
All right, let's leave Facebook and head on over to Twitter.
To Twitter.
First question comes from Wade P. Sheridan, who asks,
I know this guy.
Who else should have gotten a CGI show like Beware the Batman and Green Lantern, the animated series? I mean, first of all, no one should get CGI shows because they all...
Well, I was going to say, keeping in mind what we believe, like the limitations of expression or design or whatever to be in this style of animation, what's a character that you would think maybe would work well with it or like wouldn't?
Oh, that's interesting.
You know what I mean? Like, let's take that animation style as it is. What's a character that you think would maybe be like pretty well served by it?
I got one.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
I'm thinking less Green Lantern, the animated series, and more Beware the Batman, in that the CGI was created to serve the kinesthetic aspect, the idea of characters and bodies in motion within a 3D space. The Flash would have been a great component for CGI. Focus on the rogues specifically, in order to differentiate it from, say, the contemporary Flash series that was going on at the time in 2013.
Right.
Because that kind of underserved the rogues. And I feel like you could do something really cool within that space with that cast.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. What were you going to say?
Metal Men.
Oh, that's good.
I mean, listen, you're always going to get me with Metal Man.
I just think like if the issue is dealing with like weird emotionless things, make it robots.
I like that approach. And Metal Men is kind of silly. The whole thing is that they are kind of malleable. They change shape. They do
exactly.
these kind of. I like
for
that.
A Jenny Tartakovsky Hotel Transylvania kind of deal.
Yeah. I really like that.
Yeah.
Well, shit. I don't think I was ready for me to like that much. Do you know what? I think I'm leaning kind of. I want things that have like. I'm trying to find the right way to phrase this. Simple, like iconic movement, like lifting, smashing, punching. Like I'm trying to think of like in a kind of
Superman,
a kind of golden age sense. Yeah. And I think what that is leading me to is something like I don't think I'd want. Well, I shouldn't say I wouldn't want. I don't think I'm talking about a full JSA show, but I do think I'm talking about a character like Our Man. Or something like that. Flip the hourglass over. He's got 1 hour to like lift and run and do those kind of things, and then it runs out, and he's got to kind of, be creative or hide or get away or like an Our Man show would, I think, kind of work in that style. He's got a pretty simple designed suit. You'd have like the 3D of the hourglass and all those kind of things. Something like that, I think, would be kind of fun. It's kind of where my head's at.
Yeah, I like that.
I like it.
All right, next question comes from Greg Fine. Who asks, Doc, how good of a job do you think the GL animated series did of adapting your favorite Lantern, Guy Gardner?
Right. I will say that the major Guy Gardner success of that animated series is that he's kind of instantly likable while still recognizably Guy Gardner.
Really?
I love Guy in this series.
Guy in this series is great, but Guy in the comics is like an aggressive asshole. And yeah, I get it. He's got a backstory. We spend a lot of time with him. People love him, but like they really made you work to like Guy Gardner.
Yeah.
The show brings in the elements of being kind of brash, or at least being like not working the way Hal Jordan works. So there's some tension or whatever, but he is instantly likable.
It's a totally different take on the character.
Yeah.
Where Guy Gardner is an ass to Hal, but everyone else around him is like, Guy Gardner's the greatest. Why can't you be more like Guy Gardner? And it feels like an episode of Rugrats or something where they're being like gaslit into bully around being the perfect thing.
The thing is, the show puts you in the position of being me and having everyone tell you that Guy Gardner's amazing.
Sounds like you're the bad guy.
Yeah, no. I love Guy in this show, but it's a very different take than Guy in the comics. And I feel like it benefits for it because we spend so much time with Hal Jordan. And Guy's role in the show is to show like Hal has spent all this time in space in this esoteric off the books mission. And by the time he comes back, his entire life has been taken away. Everyone's moved on without him. Earth has a new Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of a loser, which is where Hal thrives the best, when he's forced to reckon with the idea that he's thrown away everything he cares about.
Yeah.
Is that a bad thing?
Jesus.
Oh, anyways, next question.
Good Lord. I was also just going to say, I think Guy's costume translates great to that animation style.
Yes.
Sure, I did see that.
It looks amazing with like his stupid double-breasted vest or whatever. Yeah.
All right, next question comes from Rick to the E, who asks, since they both had a show on there, what is the difference between Teen Titans and Young Justice? What's the in-universe reason for having both teams? And what was the point in making both comics? Some characters are even on both teams, aren't they?
So I just want to start this off by saying that in neither show do both teams exist.
No,
there is a Young Justice show that has the young heroes on the team that they don't even call Young Justice. And there is the Teen Titans show, or Teen Titans Go, that has multiple teams of Titans, but they never really, well, I shouldn't say that. There are later references to Young Justice, like the show, but we'll sort of not touch that. But in the comics, both the Teen Titans and Young Justice teams exist, and they existed concurrently as well. Alex, in your opinion, or in comic fact, what do you see as like the difference in mandate or membership or whatever that makes those teams different from each other?
All right, let's take you back to the new Teen Titans. 1980.
Yeah.
The whole concept of the new Teen Titans from the very beginning with Marv Wolfman and George Perez was the idea that they would introduce these teenage characters and they would be able to grow and mature over the run. We would see them becoming adults.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And this trend through the Teen Titans progressed through the 80s, through the 90s, until they eventually dropped Teen Titans entirely. They were just Titans.
Yeah.
And we saw a new team of Teen Titans in the mid 90s, which was another team that was also growing up. But Young Justice was, and he's like, what if we had a team where we just like wanted to hang out with a bunch of kids and had fun?
Yeah, that's totally normal.
And I mean, it is if your readers are children.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
Not everybody who reads comics are 30-year-olds. Maybe some people who read Teen Titans are teenagers themselves.
Interesting premise.
What if a teen wanted to pick up a Teen Titans? Like, these aren't teens. These guys are all in their early 20s. They have mortgages. So the idea was that Titans would be this more mature book, and Young Justice would be a more tongue-in-cheek, rebel kids causing chaos, starting a ruckus. From the very beginning, there's a very irreverent tone to Young Justice, which is ironic because now Young Justice the show and Teen Titans Go the show have the opposite vibe to them. Teen Titans Go is the one with that chaotic, kid-friendly vibe, and Young Justice the show is the one that's trying to address all these mature themes. But if I'm being honest, I don't think Greg Weisman picked the name Young Justice. I think he took that and ran with it in a different direction. It's very often that he doesn't say save Young Justice. He says save Earth 16. He sees the whole thing as a universe as a whole. It's not really the name I think he would have chosen in hindsight. And it gets pegged to that name a lot, despite the fact that if you watch the show, it really isn't Young Justice. And I don't know, is that a big deal that it has the wrong name?
Yeah. I think also at this point in time, I in the comics at least, there's not necessarily like a mission difference between the teams or a mandate difference between the teams. It's more just, we know this collection of characters as one team and we know this collection of characters as a different team. You know, because if you really think about it, like, there's also, you know, there's the Titans, and then there's also the Teen Titans, and then there's also Young Justice, and then there's also Infinity Inc. And then there's also like, there's a bunch of teams that like roughly more or less have similar kind of things in the way that there's also the Justice Society, and they've got newer members and legacy members, and there's the Justice League. It's like when you're, well, I'm going to use a very specific me example. My entire class graduated theater school, and we didn't make one theater company. We all split into factions and made a bunch of theater companies. Did we have that different of a mandate from each other? Not really. No. You know, it's just, you're out there and those are your groups and those are your kind of your social networks and things like that. I think that's a better way to think about them than like Young Justice handles X, Teen Titans handles Y or whatever, you know?
It's a tonal difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus. It's so much.
What do you? No, it's not. Read it all. I've fully given up on making it less daunting.
Yeah.
I'm having fun.
All right.
I'm also having fun.
That's the great way to say that.
Yeah,
We're all having fun.
Yeah, did I mention I
I
graduated
do.
from
I'm
theater
experiencing a unit of enjoyment.
All right, let's go to the next question.
Do you know what? Screw you guys.
Yeah.
If you want to leave, Richard and I can just do this.
No, that's the thing I'm
truest
worried
thing.
about.
Yeah.
I won't be able to hide behind it anymore if that's what happens.
So you could produce.
We think we both know that's not true.
All right, let's go to the next question from our favorite religious representative.
Sure, Chris Chan.
That's right. Who asks, from the perspective of a parent, are any of these good for kids to watch? Is there any educational value to them, or are they just to put the kids in front of whilst you take care of something else?
All right,
I mean, Teen Titans Go is funny because it's framed like a kid's show, but is not at times.
I mean, we've talked about it so many times on this show that it's like you watch it and in one thing, there's like singing a song about like being inspired or whatever. You're like, that's good for kids to hear. And then in the next scene, they push the Waynes into the alley to get shot. And you go like, huh. And then, you know, I think it would be a lie for me to come out and say across the board that the DC Nation block has educational value. However, I think it would be a lie for me to say, even in little parcels, that individual shows are, quote, educational. I do think, though, that a lot of the stuff that was on that block, specifically, I'm actually thinking of like the shorts, are like, as far as sitting your kids in front of the TV because you got to do the dishes or you got to do whatever, you know, they still pick stuff up from it. They're still learning how to be people. This is the thing I'm really noticing with my daughter is, you know, she comes home and she talks about like a friend of hers like wasn't listening to the teacher and the teacher says something. She'll then say it was like when, and she'll talk about like My Little Pony or something.
Sure.
Like she's using these things as like parables, right? To then connect to real life things that she's experiencing. She sees what the lesson was or what went wrong in that episode. And she goes, well, yeah, we shouldn't do that because it makes people feel bad, or like it's, this is a huge stretch to say that like that's a reason to sit them down in front of hours of TV. I wouldn't say that. But for example, I always loved the little Dead Man shorts that are part of DC Nation.
Yeah.
They have the kind of like scratchy, like classic Tim Burton kind of like looks to them, and they're very cute. It's always Dead Man and this Raven, and they have like their little adventures or whatever. It's not like Dead Man and the Raven teach you math. It's not explicitly educational, but it's still teaching. Like there's one where the Raven is falling and Dead Man keeps hopping into different bodies to try and save the Raven. It's like very insane and very over the top and very comical. Yeah. But it's still like showing, it's like if you care about your friends, you try to help them.
Sure.
Can I say a word about the purpose of DC Nation?
Totally.
The purpose of DC Nation was never to educate. The purpose of DC Nation was to sell toys.
Yeah, sure.
And it did not. Lots of people watched the DC Nation block. It did not translate to toy sales at all.
Right.
And that's not entirely the series' fault. There were a lot of manufacturing and distribution issues. The fact that the Green Lantern movie tanked in 2011 meant that nobody stocked the Green Lantern the Animated Series toys.
Right.
And because that DC Nation block didn't translate to toy sales, that's why it was ultimately shut down.
Yeah.
So if the block was constructed to teach you anything, it was consumerism. And on that fact, they failed spectacularly.
Yeah. But I think all of that is to say that it's like everything in moderation, right? I don't think there's any, I'm not even 100% convinced that sitting your kid down in front of 6 hours of Sesame Street a day is a good idea. And Sesame Street is inherently great and educational.
That's how I learned to read.
But you know, I think it's just, Teen Titans Go aside, maybe. Yeah, I think there's things in there, and if part of the language or the rapport you have as a family is kind of pop culture based, which it obviously is in my house, those things do become like a frame of reference. And so I think I can make education out of them, but no, Alex is right. Like, they're not educational. I do love, though, those little like weird moments on Teen Titans Go where there's like a rap about like quantum superposition or something like that.
Yeah.
Usually it does accidentally teach you something. Like a healthy distrust of the Easter Bunny.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God. My daughter, when Easter rolls around, she starts doing the Easter Bunny song from Teen Titans Go.
Really?
Yeah. Like, hop, 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 I lay my little eggs. Hop, 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 oh, won't you find my eggs? Yummy, yum, yummy, yum, yummy, yum, yum, yum. Ooh, I love to watch you eat my eggs.
That's so weird.
It's like deliberately creepy on the show. Like, he has like a human face.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
And he like shits out eggs. He goes, oh, it's
God.
a big one.
Oh. So weird.
Yeah.
They also have a thing with Santa Claus, too, don't they?
Yeah, the Teen Titans fight Santa almost every season.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I love that. All right. With that, let's go to the next question from EC.
It's so easy.
It's so easy. Who asks, if you could write an episode for the DC Nation lineup, what shows or animated shorts would you like to work on?
Oh, interesting. Alex, what would you want to do?
The Question versus the Illuminati.
Well, hang on. I'm gonna say this as the rule. If we're saying a thing that is not an established show, I'm saying that you're proposing it as a short.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I am. Every one of these shorts, The Question takes on another ridiculous conspiracy, like the fake moon landing or
Right.
Bigfoot or what have you. All the like
Mm.
good pre-QAnon conspiracies that are kind of fun before they got evil and racist.
Yeah. The question reveals who was on Epstein's flight logs.
Yeah, we're not doing that. No, we're not doing that.
Question
but-
beats the shit out of Prince Andrew.
yeah, no, but like stuff like, right. You know what I'm talking about.
I do. Yeah. Like, well, no, never mind. That's pretty dark too. I was going to say The Question solves JFK's murder. Yeah.
Yeah, that's also. I was
Also pretty dark. Never mind.
Yeah, the question on the grassy knoll.
DB Cooper.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's fun.
Yeah.
What I'm
like
thinking
that.
is more like a parody of X-Files. but
Yeah.
with, The Question and Renee Montoya as Mulder and Scully.
Sure. That's fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's good.
I do like the idea too that's like, that is actually kind of serving an educational goal about like, later when you hear someone talk seriously about this thing, all you're going to think of is how it was a silly bullshit cartoon, and you're
Yes.
going to know that person's talking shit.
Like Flat Earth would be an episode.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Flat Earth, Ancient Aliens,
Yes.
which is tougher in DC because the Thanagarians kind of fit that bill. But yeah.
Nice.
They like talk to Hawk about it. They're like, it was like that when we got here.
Yeah, they already had this pyramid. If anything, we kind of like copped the design. We brought it back to Thanagar. Yeah,
Like, hey, this is pretty cool.
that's
I love
really
that.
funny. What about you, Richard? Any of the shows that we've mentioned, or that you'd want to do like an episode of, or something, or is there a character you'd want to like do like a short?
There's a short. I have an idea.
Okay, sure.
I have an idea for a short, which is it's the Challengers of the Unknown. And
Okay.
it's what they were doing at all of the like big important DC events. So
Right.
like each short is you spend like maybe 2 minutes or something explaining like the like Crisis on Infinite Earth or something.
Yeah.
And then it's like, but this is what the Challengers of Unknown were doing. And you basically just like pan the camera over slightly, and it's some like comedic like small thing that they're dealing with.
Yeah, they like find a weird slug or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
That's it.
I like that.
So you're like teaching about lore, you're giving them like all of his context for like big DC stuff, but then hilariously the Challengers of the Unknown has to like deal
That's
with
actually
That's funny.
very similar to a short they did with Animal Man. The great,
Oh.
yeah, there's a great series
yeah.
of Animal Man shorts where Weird Al Yankovic plays Animal Man.
it. What?
Yeah.
And
What?
in every one, like a villain is up to this crazy nefarious scheme, and Animal Man intervenes to save the life of an animal who got in the way.
I love that. That's
and the
great.
last one is this Final Crisis pastiche where Darkseid takes over the world. And like there's some kind of squirrel or something that is the only thing Animal Man is concerned.
I love that.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that one.
What about you?
Oh boy. I guess I would want to. I think I'd want to do like an episode or a couple of episodes of Green Lantern if I got the opportunity, and I think I'd want to expand a little bit on like the kind of forgotten like Earth villains of Green Lantern, like from the Silver Age. Yeah, Sonar, the Shark, Dr. Polaris, like do something with
Dr. Hammond.
Yeah, do something with that a little bit. I think that'd be kind of where I'd want to go with that.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next question. Coming from Ciao.
Okay.
Who asks?
Bella.
Ciao, Bella.
Yeah, why do I feel like I'm getting catcalled?
Ciao. Bellissimo.
Ooh. Never mind. I'm okay.
You've already catcalled me twice today, too.
I mean, barely.
I believe you went, ow, ow!
Yeah, those legs go all the way up.
Yeah. Want some fries with that shake toots? All right. Chow asks,
Jesus Christ.
if any of the shorts you could turn into normal cartoons,
Ooh.
which would you choose? Black Lightning, Plastic Man, Animal Man, etc.?
Good question.
They had a bunch of kind of like fun Metal Men ones that had a very kind of like they did a good job of kind of capturing the sort of 60s vibe of
Love that.
Of Metal Men. Those were sort of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I got an answer.
Sure.
Amethyst Princess of Gem World.
Sure.
Amethyst Princess of Gem World.
Yeah.
That series was ready to go as a full show.
Totally.
They created this ongoing story throughout 7 shorts, which all compiled as clearly a pilot for an ongoing series. And that would have been, I think, a huge hit among like young girls who need a DC show.
We talked about that when we did our Amethyst episode. It's like it feels so rife.
I think the problem is
potential.
Steven Universe exists.
Did it back then though?
I don't know when it started.
I don't know.
When did Steven start?
I feel like it started in like 2011, probably.
Right.
Yeah, so it was around the same time. But why can't there be more than one show for girls?
I know, but I just mean Steven Universe is literally like about a gem world with like people who have like rubies and shit.
Yeah,
inside
that
them,
is
like,
true. There is an amethyst character.
Yeah, like
in
it's
this show.
so similar in a lot of ways. Like it must have been inspired by it.
And that started in 2013.
Okay.
I mean, we've
DC should
definitely
have gotten to it first.
We've definitely had this conversation before, though. Like everything about Amethyst and Gem World is like set up for it. You have like a world to explore.
Yeah.
There's like different kingdoms. There's different powers. There's specific colors for types
so
of characters
good.
and
It
stuff
could
like
be
that.
so good.
It has all of like the same rules that like makes My Little Pony work. Like there's certain types of ponies. They do different things. You go to this place, that's where they live. You go to this place, that's where these ones live.
I will say that other than those new Teen Titans shorts, there was a collection of shorts from this series that was developed into a TV show.
Wait, which one?
Super Best Friends Forever by Lauren Stout.
Right.
That was the basis for DC Superhero Girls.
Yes, that's right.
Except they changed Donna Troy to Wonder Woman, which feels like a mistake to me. But from a branding perspective, I suppose makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, Superhero Girls is another like that's a big hit in my house.
Yeah.
That 2019 series is very well written, even though it's just My Little Pony with superheroes.
I mean, that's probably why.
That's a big part of why it's going over so well. Yeah.
Every character in DC Superhero Girls is mapped exactly onto a My Little Pony character.
That's true, actually.
Superhero girl.
Rarity is Zatanna. Applejack is Supergirl.
Jessica.
Rainbow Dash is Supergirl.
Jessica Cruz is Fluttershy.
Jessica Cruz is Fluttershy. That's correct. Batgirl is Pinkie Pie.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman is Twilight Sparkle.
Yeah.
And Supergirl is Rainbow Dash. What did I leave out? Oh yeah, Bumblebee is Fluttershy. And Bumble, which is interesting because Jessica Cruz should be Fluttershy, but in the show, she's a lot closer to Applejack.
That's true too. Yeah.
And
bro.
Wait. Zatanna is Rarity.
Zatanna is Rarity. Yeah.
Totally, bro.
So every one of the main DC superhero girls is just a humanized My Little Pony character.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about My Little Pony.
Do you want to talk about Paw Patrol instead?
I saw half
God.
the first season and I got the gist.
Yeah, I know. I think I've forgotten like something important to make room for My Little Pony, but it's in there. Yeah.
All right.
All right, let's go to the next question.
Let's do it.
Next question means that we are leaving Twitter and heading on over to Instagram.
Now
Yeah,
we're going to Instagram, take some questions and answer them.
Wow. Was that no delay? That was incredible.
That was either no delay or we're great at hanging on to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
geez. That was fucking incredible. All right, first question comes from the Multi Sanchez, who asks, oh, you didn't want to do
No.
like you used to do?
I did it once. It was a mistake.
More than once. Which of these shows do you think did the best job using comic book canon? I appreciate how Young Justice plays with our expectations by following canon, but then twisting it, in some ways improving on the stuff that didn't age well. Looking at you, Deathstroke, in season 3.
Right. Yeah.
So, who did the best job?
I mean, this is a tricky question because it's never 1-to-1. I will say, especially the first season of Young Justice, that was extremely episodic, even though it had a season arc. That first season of Young Justice does such a good job of taking kind of classic comic stories and giving them a new twist. So like the episode where Wally has to run the heart to a hospital and Vandal Savage stops him partway, like that's
right out of the Mike Baron run.
That's I think it's like the first issue of Wally's Flash run or something like that.
Yeah.
Or it's like from around there. Like that's just a straight up pulled that out of a comic. And they do that a bunch with like these little kind of like little bite-sized morsel kind of stories. Yeah. And then obviously the season arc does something kind of bigger, but each of those kind of episodes does this individual thing that's like a little taster, a little like sampler plate of like the entire universe, exactly, of like actual comic stories. And I love that. I really can't get over that.
No series in DC history has ever done as much homework as Young Justice does.
Totally.
Wow.
And while it does change the continuity in very significant ways, it's all stuff that is informed by and based on what they've read in the comics. They're trying to streamline to make it a more cohesive world. Yeah. But with Green Lantern, the animated series, like, I read the Jeff Johns run. I know what's going on. Beware the Batman is basically an entire original thing. And Teen Titans Go delights itself in discarding canon. Like, that's part of the fun. You have to let go of that to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So really the only candidate here is Young Justice.
Yeah. I mean, there is the sort of ironic thing of like, there are these great moments in Teen Titans Go where it's like you could tell they did the homework and then they were just like they ripped it up in front of you.
Right.
I mean, this is a conversation that you and I have been having for a long time. Yeah. Which is that like I don't think like interpretations of media can be one for one. Like I think that it never works. Like you need to take inspiration and use something as like a foundation, but like just recreating something in a different format never works.
Sandman is the best example of that, I think. The recent that it is so based on the comics. It's so faithful to that, but where it deviates, it serves the medium that it's working in. It serves the format and the
you need to do
story.
that. I think like there's never a case where it works. I think like you need to.
And I think Young Justice, especially that first season. I'll props to the second season as well, but mostly that first season is what I'm thinking of. Young Justice does a really great job of that because there's enough. I'll use that Vandal Savage Wally episode again. There's enough in there that you go like, oh, I read that. Yes. I know this one. And there's like, and that part of that is like visuals, like actual kind of like setups of a scene. And part of it is like the general premise. But it's also different enough that you don't go like, oh, why did they change that? You go like, of course they changed it. It's just cool that they gave us this like hint that it's like, we know what we're doing. We are like we are worthy custodians of this thing that you like, and we're going to take good care of it because we love it too, and
Yes.
we're going to give you these little morsels because we love them, and also to prove to you that we love them, and because you love them. You know, like it's a real kind of like, it's a sort of love letter relationship with the fans. I think that works so well. It's part of what made Young Justice so like mythic, I think, in the eyes of fans, is they're like it's the thing that people think that they're asking for when they say let fans write Marvel movies, which is obviously a bad idea. But in Young Justice, they got the best version of that wish come true,
right?
Which is like actual writers with the skill of writing, acting like fans, writing or like being fans and writing this thing. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
All right. Next question comes from Al Frankenstein. You are my Al Frankenstein.
No, I'm Al Frankenstein, attorney.
Yeah. Oh, you're expecting the other one.
Yeah.
All right. Al asks the short.
When he goes home to his wife, that's when Al Frankenstein's monster comes out. I'm sorry.
It's a lie.
I'm sorry.
Al
I'm not that sorry.
No, you're not. The shorts were great. So how the hell didn't Plastic Man ever get at least a season of a show? The pilot, in a similar style from 2006, I believe, was incredible. Animal Man too, but I can understand if a Weird Al voice Animal Man might not fit the overall tone of the character's more existential storylines.
Well, let's talk about a little bit about Plastic Man off the top. Yeah, would you have wanted to see, like, I mean, beyond just enjoying that when people get shows anyway, would you have wanted to see like that Plastic Man short, like that style? Would you like to see that as like a full show, Alex?
Sure, why not?
Pretty tepid response.
Yeah. I mean, it could be good.
I think it's a lot.
It would require a very dedicated writing team, because Plastic Man doesn't really have a rich universe. So it would have to be very gag reliant. It would have to be very comedy based. It would have to be very big on, and this is what kills it, I think, visual comedy.
Yeah.
And that requires a lot of animation, and that requires a lot of money.
Yeah.
If you don't have the budget or the talent to commit to a full Plastic Man animated series, what you end up with is the Plastic Man comedy adventure show from 1979.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yes.
No,
yeah,
I have not.
It's not good.
It sure is a show that was made.
I would think that if you're going to do Plastic Man right, what you need to do instead is just take the entire writing staff and animation staff from Johnny Bravo and make that Plastic Man. I think that is how it works.
Oh, no. You know what you just suggested? You just suggested Seth MacFarlane's Plastic Man.
I mean,
it could work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree. I think it's a lot. As the main, you know, Plastic Man works so well as a supporting character on Brave and the Bold.
Brave and the Bold.
You're like, Plastic Man is fucking amazing there. But it's because he's a supporting character. You can bring him in when you need him, and then you can kind of leave him when you don't. And I think it would be a lot. I mean, the Animal Man shorts we talked about with Weird Al, and it's Animal Man is only ever focused on saving an animal while something else bigger is happening.
Great.
That's very funny. But the last time Alex was on, I pitched that I want a BoJack Horseman style Animal Man show where he's kind of like depressed because it's all the other stuff from Animal Man comics where it's like his wife is leaving him and like his family's falling apart and he can't keep it together and his powers aren't working the way he wants.
Would be an incredible basis for an Animal Man.
Love that.
Totally.
That mature perspective. I would love that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Still voiced by Weird Al. Why not? Dude's got me.
I mean, Weird Al to me, he'll always be Darkseid, but
did he do that?
Yeah, on Teen Titans Go, Weird Al is the voice of Darkseid.
Weird.
It's funny because
is Weird Al like a secret DC fan? Is that
or just they pay him and he's there? I don't know, but like There's an episode where the Teen Titans first go up against Darkseid, and he has like the voice or whatever.
Yeah.
And Starfire, someone gives him a lozenge, and he goes, "All right, Titans, now it's time for you to die."
That's so good.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I think he also played Dollmaker in one of those Batman movies.
Oh, he did. That's right. In one of the like that kind of like New 52 inspired animated universe.
He must love comics. He must.
I mean,
or he loves money and they love him.
I mean, it's true.
I mean, he's also very pop culture aware.
Sure,
That's like his entire career, so it
It's
wouldn't
being
surprise
pop
me.
culture, yeah.
Sure. All right. Next question comes from Instagram 2010.
I know it sounds like a bot.
Yeah. But they have a real question.
Yeah.
Who asks, do you want to make your dick bigger for only $2 a month?
Do I?
Tell me more.
Wait, a subscription service to make my dick bigger?
Yeah,
Yeah,
It'll go
every
pay.
month it gets bigger.
It'll go back to normal size if I don't pay the
But also, if you keep paying, it keeps getting bigger.
Oh, God.
I think that's what Regal
What
is.
What a catch-22. So would you rather...
Watch your parents have sex every single day or join them once to make it stop?
I know what Batman would pick because in one scenario his parents are still alive.
I wish I could watch them every day.
Yeah.
I would treasure my time with them.
I mean, God, especially Batman from this season of Harley Quinn. No spoilers, but that guy would totally watch his parents fuck.
Now I get to watch my mother put a pearl necklace on.
That's our show, everybody.
Wow, my dad really has no Joe Chill.
Stick two in the back of the head in the alley, if you know what I mean. All right. Instagram 2010 asks, Beware the Batman is notorious for using lesser known characters instead of the usual suspects. What hero or villains would you have liked to see if it had gotten a second season?
Oh my God. There's still so many weird Batman. I want like Deacon Blackfire, there's so many, like 10-Eyed Man, just because he came up earlier while we were hanging out
With your daughter.
with my daughter. There's so many weird characters. Actually, do you know what I think? I'm gonna throw this out there, and Alex, you can tell me whether or not you like this idea.
All right.
I think that if Beware the Batman kept going, because it always had a sort of like mystical, spiritual leaning, because there's Katana, there's the Soul Taker sword, there's all this kind of stuff in that show.
Mhm.
I think it would be neat. It wouldn't have worked when they were making the show because it's not contemporary, but thinking about it now,
Yeah.
a future season or a renewed season of it to kind of like bring in like what do they call them? The midnight shift, like the Gotham by Midnight, like Jim Corrigan and like the nun.
They would be great in this. Yes.
And do that kind of shit. Like they would fit so well in fucking Beware the Batman.
Yeah, that's true.
Dealing with like the ghost of Hugo Strange from Strange Apparitions.
Totally.
Or the Savage Skull. Or here's what I'm going to say. Now, Beware the Batman is a show that used a very different cast of villains, but each of those villains was kind of analogous to a more well-known villain.
Sure.
Magpie was analogous to Catwoman.
Right.
Professor Pig, the environmentalist angle they went with him, was analogous to Poison Ivy.
Right.
Tobias Whale was analogous to the Penguin. It goes on and on like that. And I would say what the show is missing is a Scarecrow analog. And season 2, it could have found that in Cornelius Stirk.
Wow.
I think it's
Holy
time for
shit,
Stirk to make a comeback. He was in Batman Unburied. It's Stirk's time, baby.
I mean, listen, Stirk.
Don't be a jerk. Bring in the Stirk.
Stirk.
Yes.
Stirk
on a t-shirt.
Stirk is probably less obscure than like even fucking Tweedledee and Tweedledum at this.
Sure.
You know, like,
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I like that.
Hell yeah. Don't be a jerk.
But yeah, I think in both cases, whether it's a fear thing or like, I like the idea that Beware the Batman always had a foot near or in like the occult and like stuff like that. And like that shit I'm into. We've talked about that before, that it's like for Batman movies, they all go like, and it's all mafia guys forever.
Yeah.
And it's like, it'd be so cool to have like that kind of like the ghost element
Magic.
or whatever. Like, but where the Batman could bring in fucking Azrael and would work super
Lord
well.
Deathman.
Lord Deathman would be a great one.
I gotta ask, who would you get to voice Lord Deathman?
Oh, hang on. I could do this. Lord Deathman, voiced by. Oh, hang on. Do you have someone in mind?
Yeah,
Okay. Who do you have?
Mark Hamill.
Sure. Yeah. That's a great choice. It's hard to fight that one. I might. I don't know that I have a better one than that. I was trying to think of someone like.
Oh, I know who it is.
Like a little, kind of like weird, like
Emo Phillips.
Emo Phillips would be great. Tony Hale would be great.
Tony Hale's a good call, actually. Yeah, because I love him as Dr. Psycho.
Oh, he's amazing. What did I miss? Oh my God,
Yeah.
a lot, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I like all of those. Emo Phillips. That's fucking funny too.
Great.
That's good.
Who is opening for Weird Al in his
It's the
tour
reason
right
why it just came to mind because we brought up Weird Al and I was like, I think
Right.
he's touring right now.
I'm
Did
going
you hear
to
about
see
what? Did you hear about the premise for Weird Al's tour right now?
What's the premise of the
Yes,
tour?
it's so good.
He's
so
doing
good.
only his unpopular songs.
Oh, I love him so much.
He's
None
only
of the
doing
parodies.
Yeah, it's
none
like-
of the polkas.
no.
He's just doing like the original
Yes.
songs
Just
off
like
each
yes.
album.
Skipper Dan. It's
And like-
great.
The theme to UHF.
Yes.
Oh, I fucking love that so much. Alex, I think I just signed an. You're going to this tour, right?
Yes, I'm going.
Apparently, he does a thing where he's like, before he plays the UHF thing, he goes, I actually have a biopic coming out, and everybody freaks out. And then he goes, I actually wrote a special song just for that, and everybody freaks out. And he goes, and they go to play it, and he goes, the lawyers would actually kill me for it, but I did write him another movie, and then he plays that UHF.
I love him so goddamn much.
I am praying to God for a 13-minute rendition of Albuquerque. That's,
Oh my God.
It's in
that
it.
would kill me.
He does
That
it.
would kill me.
I've heard he
'Cause
does it.
That song
Well,
is like
I don't know if he'll do it because I feel like he probably changes up the set. I don't know.
I've heard from two different people that have gone and said that he did Albuquerque.
that
Oh my
song.
God,
That
I
song
can't
is weirdly important to me.
Well, and
Because that album, like Running with Scissors, was such a great album. It was like
Oh, yeah.
it came out at exactly the right time. It was like right where I needed it to be. And Albuquerque is such like a
song that's made to be annoying.
It's the
Yes.
first time I heard a song too that like kind of told an insane story. And then it's crazy to think that only a couple of years later I probably heard Trapped in the Closet for the first time, and then only a few years after that I got Weird Al's Trapped in the Drive-Thru. Like there's like
What a
layer on
masterpiece.
layer of that kind of like
Like
thing
in
happening.
Albuquerque, there's a part where they mess up and then go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
It's so good.
Ugh.
I love it. Oh my God, I love
Weird
it.
Al is the only artist whose entire discography I own. So I'm
You
looking forward.
could have ended that sentence at Weird Al is the only artist.
Weird Al is the only artist.
It's the only one.
the only true artist.
Yeah.
A friend of mine called him the last relic of pre 9/11 comedy.
Holy shit.
Wow. Yep.
I kind of agree.
I got all my 9/11 jokes out on Ghostfacers this week.
Yes, because we recorded it on 9/11.
Yeah.
You're Canadian. You don't get to talk about 9/11.
Oh, well then don't listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I don't.
Whatever. It's just like every other guest.
Yeah. Oh God. All right. Next question comes from a new platform. We're leaving Instagram. We're heading over to Reddit.
Where everyone's nice and no one's ever mean.
That's correct. And the first question comes from Mr. Draco Fowley, who asks, "What?" Actually, don't know if that's a male or female. I shouldn't do that. Anyways, what did you guys think of the Green Lantern, the animated series characters showing up in Young Justice season 4?
Yeah. What did you think of that jump for Razor to being in Young Justice?
I got to tell you, I freaked out. I did not. It was a huge surprise to me. Like when I was watching that episode, it's like, hey, they got Kevin Michael Richardson back as Kilowog.
Yeah.
It's like a little bit of a Young Justice for free. It's like, hold on, what's going on? Yeah, and it was just such a nice treat for people who really enjoyed Green Lantern the animated series and were disappointed to see that arc not resolved. Though I think Green Lantern ended in a very resolute way that is satisfying. It just doesn't connect all the dots for you.
Yeah.
And getting to spend just a little more time with Razor and see what might have been. And it's not necessarily a canonical continuation of Green Lantern, the animated series, just a show of what could possibly happen from there. It was a very nice return to a character you thought was gone forever. It was revisiting an old friend, much like that Wally West and Vandal Savage episode. It was the same feeling as, oh, I never expected to see this on TV.
Totally.
It was a very sweet surprise for people who were just very attached to that particular forgotten chapter of DC animation history.
Totally. And, and who knows, it's, you don't want to put too much weight on things like that, especially because he's only in one episode or whatever. But
right.
If someone is still thinking about Razor after all that time and they're in a position of creating, one of these things, it's not that much of a stretch that, like, who knows, maybe in another stretch of time, someone writing a comic who will have maybe grown up having watched Green Lantern in the animated series and loved that character finally gets the opportunity to write it or whatever. Like, I think the door's always open for Razor to have more impact. Like, clearly it didn't catch wildfire the way like Harley did or something like that, but that's also fucking lightning in a bottle. So I think it's cool to see what people pick up on and bring back, and whether or not they do it for the fans or they do it because they like it or whatever. I think it's nice to leave the door open that we know that you like this thing. Eventually it'll find a home somewhere else again.
Red Claw, the villain from Batman the Animated Series, just showed up in Teenie Howard's Catwoman.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Too late to make the jump.
Totally.
A bunch of the radio serial villains from the 40s and 50s were in Jean Luen Yang's Superman Batman run.
That's right.
It's never too late to make the jump.
The Spider Lady.
And the Wizard.
Yeah.
And Mr. Atom. Yeah, those guys.
Yeah. Love that. All right. Next question comes from Dr. DC resident Neo, who asks, favorite animation style from CN?
Right. So from the Cartoon Network, from this DC Nation block, favorite animation style. So certainly in the shorts, there was a wide range of animation styles. There's two 3D animated shows, but again, to what Alex has said, there's slight differences between Beware the Batman and Green Lantern the animated series. Certainly in terms of whether or not the show was built for movement. Young Justice has a pretty distinct animation style. Teen Titans Go is a very distinct animation style. Do you have a favorite? Do you just have a thing that resonates with you more?
There's only one correct answer to this question.
Oh.
And it's Batman of Shanghai, boys. That's the show that was made specifically for gorgeous animation. That's the one where it's the one they show off to demonstrate how good DC animation can be when they really commit to it. That the whole premise of that little short 3-minute series is beautiful animation, and it would bankrupt DC animation to make a whole show out of it, but I'd love to see it.
Sure. Yeah. That's fair. Richard, do you have a sort of favorite animation style?
I mean, that Shazam style is really nice.
Sure.
Oh, that's so good. That Popeye animation. I love it.
That's a fun one. Yeah. I like that.
That really weird, Aardman,
I was going to bring up the Aardman thing because I don't think we had talked about it yet. The sort of it's not 100% like Wallace and Gromit, but I think it's if not in conjunction with them, heavily inspired by, but those kind of tall, weird mouth, weird eye, plasticine kind of.
That's such a weird, funny style.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I really love that. I think
I'd love to see a Teen Titans Go episode just in that style.
Ooh.
That's interesting. Good. Yeah, that's kind of fun.
The Metal Men stuff is nice, but
I mean, if we're talking the budget they had back in season 1 and season 2, then it's Young Justice for me. That show is fucking kinetic. The fight choreos in those first 2 seasons is wild, and we had these cool sets, and they had a really good sense of geography and like staging. Like you knew where you were in the space relative to other things happening.
That episode where they're fighting Despero in the Hall of Justice. It's so good.
That's a great one. I'm thinking also of like them fighting Ivo's like monkeys and stuff like that, and then
Yes.
Amazo in the school gym. Like that's got a great kind of like geography and choreography to it. The thing I loved about that episode too, it's kind of, I guess, clunky as a device if it were in the comics, but I like Amazo being like access Martian Manhunter and then going, like phasing access Superman stomping on the ground. Like I liked the way that they showed how Amazo was using all of the different powers and things like that. That was a fun one to me. It's the thing that has made me the most disappointed with later Young Justice. And again, Alex mentioned it. They have budget cuts. Is it their fault? No, it's not their fault their budget got cut. Is it their fault that they cannot adapt making the show? Like, make fewer episodes I also understand that their budget is contingent probably on a number of episodes, but it does kind of feel like at a certain point, it's like you've kind of cut the soul out of the show by gutting what was this really amazing, dynamic, action-oriented animation style. And it's the thing that really bummed me out even more in season 4 than in season 3.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to the next question from Bladent, who asks, how the heck did we get a Shade the Changing Man short out of this? And if we had gotten more Shade shorts, what would you have liked to have seen in them?
I don't think I've seen the Shade the Changing Man short.
No?
It's just one. And I have an answer to how we got the Shade the Changing Man short.
Okay.
Let's have it.
In 2011, there was a big push for Shade the Changing Man. He was going to be like the forefront guy of Justice League Dark.
Right.
They got Peter Milligan to write the series. They were like,
that's right.
We are going, like, in our fusing of Vertigo and Wildstorm into DC, we're going to make Shade the Changing Man into a big deal.
Yeah.
But there were creative differences with Milligan, and he left early, and that kind of all petered out. But there was a point in time where it was like, maybe he could be our next Constantine. And that short was kind of born of that era.
Wow.
Which also explains why we didn't see any more than that one short, because it was a very brief window of time where they were considering maybe Rack Shade. And then he got relegated to Young Animal, and them's the breaks.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah.
Did you like it? Would you have wanted more?
I mean, it's very in the vein of Supernatural, so you boys probably would have loved it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I only just remembered too that there are Doom Patrol shorts.
Yeah.
They're very good too.
The animation style is kind of weak, but I don't really love it, but
yeah, I kind of dig on it a little bit,
Okay.
but I don't know that I could watch like a whole show of it.
yeah.
I think it's fine as a short.
I think there was some Superman ones that I really loved, this art style.
Oh, the Tales of Metropolis short.
Yeah, that
so
art style is
good.
beautiful.
The Lois Lane one is the best short of the whole collection,
I mean, of course.
where she's hounding Batman across Gotham and Metropolis.
Oh yeah. That's a fun one.
Private
Yeah.
interview.
Is
That's
that
the best thing to come out of the DC Nation shorts. IMO.
I mean, I agree, and I like that one, but
And it's Maria Bamford.
I will.
is it?
I will.
Yeah, Maria
always
Bamford
have-
plays Lois.
Wow.
I will always have a soft spot for the Dead Man one with the
Yeah, they're
Raven.
very cute. They're
Him
very
like jumping into like an overweight guy and running a bit and then being like, and then like hopping into a guy in a cab and driving by and just
That's
doesn't
fun.
catch the Raven. And when you pan out at the end, this is like the crashed car, guy lying down.
Love
it's like
that.
the carnage.
Very like goofy.
it's so
type
silly,
stuff.
but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
that cute and that like early Tim Burton Frankenweenie kind of way.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right, we are leaving Reddit and we're heading over to the Doc Scored.
Oh, I'm ready for that.
You should-
I'm
that
Doc
line.
scored it. Check it and see. I got a fever of 103.
Wow.
I'm just gonna do one little punch up.
Okay.
I love that. One little punch up.
Uh-huh.
Doc Scorden, check it and see.
Yeah.
Got a fever of 100 and scored.
I was gonna say it got a doc score of 100.
My concern is his was too good.
That's true. It's not sweaty enough.
It's got to be sweatier. It's got to be worse.
Yeah. You got to make it bad.
Listen, if you're gonna come for the throne, you better lower the bar.
I'm pole vaulting right over it.
That's true, yeah.
Into a better podcast.
Yeah, I mean that's not hard.
All right. First question for the doc scored comes from the Chernikist, and who they ask, for Doc, how do you feel about Young Justice season 1+2 aired on TV versus season 3 versus 4 streaming only? For Jaffe, I heard you're going to fight Jeff Johns. Not really a question. Just wanted to know that I support you.
I don't know where you heard these scurrilous rumors.
It couldn't have been you on Twitter railing about Flashpoint Beyond number 5. Yeah,
yeah. There's going to be 7 arenas, and we're.
All right, what you need to know is that Limbo is part of the time section of the Divine Continuum, not the space part of the Divine Continuum. And it's called that because it's DC, see? And we're going to reboot the multiverse, and this time it's infinite. But
yes.
3 years from now, we're going to do it for real. And then 3 years from then, we're going to do it for real, for real. And have I told you about the secret crisis?
Get him.
And we call it the metaverse.
Drag him, Jaffe.
Oh, boy. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have an issue with it if it wasn't my job to explain it every day.
Very true.
That's fair.
All right. So, first, Doc.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've talked about the budget thing.
Yeah.
But putting that aside, I thought it was interesting in season 3 to go the Outsiders route, to explore metahuman trafficking and Markovia and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think also maybe one of the biggest letdowns of the renewed seasons of Young Justice is that the mystery of what Vandal Savage and Darkseid have been up to was so much better than the answer.
Yeah.
The reveal of whatever stupid pact they have is like, that's it. Like at the end of season 2, you're like, Vandal Savage went to fucking dark. Like you knew that there was a connection. They had apocalyptic weapons. There was all this kind of shit. But then like to have them shake hands, that was a huge thing at the end of that season. And then in season 3 and 4, you kind of go like, like fine, I guess. Like I don't really see what Darkseid's getting out of this deal. Really, I really don't think Vandal Savage is as smart as he thinks he is. If this is his plan, that is kind of a letdown for me. Season 4, I loved what they were doing with messing with like where they were in time and space, and like that bus careening through different episodes at different times. Like that shit was really clever to me. I really liked that. But the other thing I don't like is Vandal Savage being like the progenitor of Nabu and Arian. I didn't.
Kind of cool.
I don't jive with that much, because that is the thing that reeks to me of like, we need an explanation of where things come from. That feels like the idea of like that early like rumored DCEU thing where it's like, and anyone with powers will be descended from an ancient Kryptonian, or like all of those things. It's like you're overthinking it. Like or even the Flash, where it's like everyone who got powers got it from the particle accelerator explosion, and then eventually they were like, except for those people, they just had powers, there's magic, whatever. As soon as you say whatever, I'm in. But like that idea of like, and nothing before this,
which is funny because you love lore and you love rules.
I do love rules, but also that's not how like life works. Life doesn't have one single
Doc is like me.
Thing,
we love the concept of rules, but we don't like having to follow those rules.
Holy shit.
I don't necessarily love being called out like that, but
God, this makes so much more
hard
sense.
to say he's wrong though. Yeah, like I think there's a couple of things for me where we got into these extra seasons of Young Justice where they didn't have the budget, but they were still doing these kind of big scoping things. And they were like, it's time to start answering other things that we've set up in the show so far. And I haven't found the answer satisfying. And then when you compound on that the show isn't as well made, just by virtue of the budget thing.
Sure.
There's a part of me that kind of wishes it just ended at season 2.
Wow.
I've been watching it because I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth, but like, it would have been better if it just ended in season 2.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next question from the marvelous Ryan, who asks, was it a good idea to reboot Teen Titans into Teen Titans Go following the shorts they made for DC Nation?
I mean, yes, unequivocally.
It was the worst idea they've ever had. It bankrupted Cartoon Network. It destroyed their reputation. Millions of children don't care who the Teen Titans are. It isn't the main reason that an entire generation of kids are engaged with DC at all. Yeah, terrible idea. What were they thinking?
I mean, Teen Titans Go is the reason that the original Teen Titans got to come back in a movie.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, Teen Titans Go is a juggernaut. It's a ratings juggernaut. It is entertaining. It's bright. It's colorful. It has an ongoing I'm not sure if it's still going. Had this great ongoing comic that was like fun to read and a cool like entry point for kids who like the show. Now they get to learn how to read comics and engage with the medium and stuff like that. Like
Jolly Fish, the goat.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, it might be. Nah. The show itself has played with the idea of them being a reboot, and that's kind of fun or whatever. But truly, like the first Teen Titans show ended like almost a decade before Teen Titans Go became like a show.
Also, Teen Titans had an ending in season 4. It was a definite, absolute ending. It was a 3-part arc called The End. And you got an encore 5th season as kind of a victory lap to spend a little more time with. What more do you need? How many endings do these characters need to have?
Yeah, you greedy sons of bitches.
Yeah.
You hear, Alex?
That Terra shit for you in the Teen Titans comic if you want to read that. But the Teen Titans, but the finale that we get for her in the show is perfect on its own. It's such a great story about being dissatisfied with the way things are and how you can't have things perfectly. And it's one of it might be the best finale to a DC show that I've seen.
I really like. I like how they work like as complements to each other, which was obviously not the intention of the original Teen Titans at all. But like in that second Teen Titans Go feature film where they team up with the Teen Titans from the original show, they do a song where they learn to appreciate each other. Like, cause the serious ones think they're jokes and the jokes think they're like, just got sticks up their asses or whatever. But there's like this one line where someone says like, do you know the Teen Titans Go, you guys are actually charming. And then the old Beast Boy comes in and says like, my Terra died. He goes, man, that's alarming. And I just kind of love the idea of like what Teen Titans Go could do was like, and they did do was take stuff from the Teen Titans show and then just do it again and make it a bit sillier.
Yeah.
They brought Terra.
They did a Terra arc.
It's not a continuation, right? Terra's in, and they go, who are you? And she goes, I'm Terra. And Beast Boy's all smitten. But instead of her like dying and it's trauma and stuff like that, it's like she gets thrown into a garbage hole in another dimension. And then they forget about her. And like a season later, they bring her back out for a different adventure. And it's like
Teen Titans Go is great. I haven't seen all of it, but
it's a masterpiece.
Great. It's my favorite show to watch on airplanes because it's constantly on.
Ooh, good call.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, we watched it on the way to France when we went years ago with my daughter.
The Teen Titans Zut alors.
Yeah, Teen Titans, allez!
Yeah. All right, next question comes from We've Only Just Done again, who asks, would you agree that Green Lantern the Animated Series is the best Green Lantern we've gotten on screen? What did it do so right that others maybe haven't?
I just want to. I really like Jessica Cruz in Justice League versus Fatal Five.
Yeah.
Her out of the conversation of best TV Green Lantern.
Are we not going to talk about that new Green Lantern movie that just came out that everyone seems to really have
my power?
Great feelings about it?
I don't think we will talk about that.
Seems to be contentious.
I haven't seen it. The best Green Lantern thing ever made is Green Lantern Emerald Knights.
I was going to say Green Lantern First Flight, but we're in the same ballpark.
Yeah. I don't like Green Lantern First Flight that much. It's fine. I think.
Never mind. We're not in the same ballpark.
I think
you're playing cricket or something weird.
All right. But yeah, Green Lantern the Enemy Series is great. I love it. It's yeah. I wouldn't be mad if you claimed that as your opinion. I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean it's up there. It also has the benefit of like being whatever 20 episodes or whatever it is. Like there's quite a lot of Green Lantern storytelling happening.
Sure.
In it, more than we ever got with the Justice League cartoon, and more than we get in Emerald Knights or First Flight or whatever. Mm-hmm. Do I think it's my favorite Green Lantern on screen? Oh, I mean, it's tough. I don't know that. I don't know that it is. It's really good.
But what would be better?
I mean, I like First Flight.
Okay.
I really like that Green Lantern movie. I really
like Guy Gardner in Batman: The Brave and the Bold.
Guy Gardner is really funny on Brave and the Bold.
Yeah,
that's a good call.
Let's see what else. Does the Green Lantern from Duck Dodgers count?
Oh hell yeah, yeah he does.
Yeah, that counts. No, I'm not saying Justice League, and I'm not going to say Justice League.
Do you know what? I gotta. I actually will. I'm thinking about it. I am going to give it to Green Lantern the animated series, and part of what is swaying me is that the animated series goes where Gotham by Gaslight did not, and they have a steam lantern.
Oh, really?
Yes. They have a steampunk lantern called Steam Lantern.
Yeah, you've talked about this.
And it's, I mean, and the fucking anti-monitors in that. I mean, what was I thinking that it wasn't the best one?
Yeah, Goltass wins.
Yeah. Okay, well, that will feed right into our last question here from Yokro, who asks, where would you have wanted to see the Green Lantern show go if it wasn't canceled? Also, not counting YJ as a continuation or canon.
Right. So yeah, not imagining that Razor showing up in Young Justice is an actual continuation.
It was very neatly setting up both the Sinestro Corps War and Blackest Night. So that's probably where it would have gone.
Yeah. Which I think was fair. I mean, it was always doing the Johnsian stuff of exploring the whole spectrum of doing those things. Sinestro Corps War and Blackest Night are like two of the best pieces of Green Lantern anything to come out of the Johns era.
Absolutely.
Sure.
So if you're going to make a show steeped in that, to build to that makes a ton of sense. 100%
I do credit
makes
Blackest Night as getting me back into comics when I was in a real rut. So I owe a lot of my fandom to that.
Blackest Night is one of the best events in comics.
Yeah.
End of sentence.
Because it has all of these opportunities to tell personal emotional stories that so often get lost in these big cosmic events that are about everything.
Yeah, totally. So I mean that would have been neat for it. The opportunity of Sinestro Corps War, it'd be different than it is in the books, but the opportunity there is to do the thing that I said I would want to explore is a little bit more time on Earth.
Yes.
And let's bring in some of those Earthbound Green Lantern enemies and explore that a little bit, and then have the threat of the Sinestro Corps and kind of do like a whatever the version of that climax is in the show, to have that same battle, and have the people of Coast City put the green lights in their window, like all the shit that the Spider-Man, you want to go get through him.
Yeah. You want to get to him, you got to go through us.
Yeah, that's what I said. I didn't mess it up. I don't have poutine brain. You have poutine
get
brain.
Through him.
Sorry, I was thinking of something else. Yeah, I mean, I would have liked that. That would have been cool. It would have been neat to. I think the only trick with Blackest Night, the show would have done a fine job, and it would have been within the confines of the show. But I think the trick with Blackest Night is that I don't know that enough people on the show kind of had like the brush with death. Like part of what was neat about the lead up to Blackest Night was that Necron kind of had this like, you think people just came back for no reason. I'd let you back, and he takes control of them and stuff like that. And you get to do that when you have the whole DC universe and all of that history at your disposal.
Yeah,
and I don't know if the show had enough characters like perish to then come back to have that kind of like, is the door open a little bit? Is the the veil between life and death like kind of fractured, or whatever that question is.
I would say it would be maybe a good way to revisit all the people who were killed by the Red Lanterns in the first half.
Yeah, that would be neat.
Failures there, but it wouldn't have the same impact.
No, definitely not. So, Alex, do you have any other final thoughts about the DC Nation that you haven't expressed yet?
All right, here are my final thoughts about the DC Nation. It's really great to look back at a time when DC was very excited about animation to the point that they were devoting an entire block of their programming to it. The fact that they were investing themselves in the idea that this is how people will connect with DC.
Yeah.
And it's something that I sorely miss. It's something that I'm concerned about for the future. And I've been thinking back about DC Nation lately, and I got in touch with Doc because I was nostalgic for this time where it looked like animation was growing, and the possibilities that stretched out beyond us could go anywhere, from Wonder Woman to Vibe to Animal Man. Anybody could get an animated adaptation, and the sky was the limit in tone and variety. And it's something that I'm really hoping will be discovered again.
Yeah, totally.
That I'll get to see it.
Yeah, totally. That's a good way to put it.
Well, that was our final thoughts. That was the last question, but we are not done because, of course, it's time to play everyone's favorite game. Want to play a little game?
Oh my god!
Time to play. Can you guess the name of the character based on someone who does not read comic books can describe that character to us? If you don't know how this works, I send a DC character to my wife who does not read comic books, nor does she care for them. She sends back 4 clues describing what she's seen.
Is it Snowflame? Is it Cod Piece?
Neither. I definitely didn't go easy on this one, though. Here we go.
This has become the bane of Alex's existence as much as it is mine.
It's just like, you think you're an expert? Try to do the most convoluted way to prove it.
Is it like the second tattooed man?
No.
Is it? I don't know.
You want a clue?
Clayface 4.
No.
Is it? Yeah, God.
Okay, why don't we start with a clue? And
sure, fine.
Okay, first clue. Skullet ponytail.
Skullet ponytail. Is it?
Is it? Oh, Sensei.
No.
Savant.
No.
Skullet ponytail. Is it Azrael's dad?
No.
Who has skullet ponytails?
Is it Richard Dragon?
No.
Is it Nightwing in the 90s?
No.
Ah, man.
Let's have another clue.
Yeah, let's have another clue.
Another clue. Pink latex gloves.
Flamingo.
No.
Professor Pig.
No.
I don't know. Why do you do this to me? Aren't I good to you? Aren't I a good guy? Don't I answer all the questions and provide meaningful insights and wrap it all up eloquently at the end? Why do you do this to me?
Because my two favorite versions of Alex Jaffe are indignant and indifferent.
I used to be like you, Alex. Now look at me, this broken husk of a man.
Is it animal, vegetable, mineral, man?
No, and we've done
Ooh.
that, I believe.
We have done AVM.
How do you not get that though? That's, I guess, with bad clues is how you not.
I
get
mean, yeah, that's the real fucking revolver.
Let's have another
spin of
clue,
this.
actually.
Okay. Clue number 3. Awooga glasses.
Okay, awooga glasses, pink gloves.
Skullet
Skullet
ponytail.
ponytail. Is it Ding Dong Daddy?
No.
Is it a weird version of Mix's Pitlick?
No.
Man, I thought I had a Ding Dong Daddy.
Is it Alex, who was Plastic Man's like sidekick?
Woozy Winks?
Is it no, it's not Woozy Winks.
it's not
Is
Woozy
it was it Doiby Dinkles or whatever the fuck
Doiby
that is?
Dickles. He didn't have a ponytail. He had a Doiby.
I'm just swinging.
Go get him, Green Lantern.
There's no world in which you get this, and I can't wait.
Is it the Heckler?
No.
Is it?
Wait, ponytail. The color is off and the glasses are up. But it's not Clue Master?
No.
Who was that white wizard dude who fought Wonder Woman?
Wasn't he just called the Wizard or
I
something?
think he was the white wizard,
Or the white magician or something? Yeah.
something
Wouldn't
like
matter.
that.
Neither.
What's the last clue?
The final clue
Fuck.
is I don't necessarily get this, but trench coat for breast cancer.
That would
he's
mean
wearing pink.
but yeah, he's wearing a pink trench coat.
Sure.
If it's the question, I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
It's not. It's not.
Mr. Pink.
No. Oh, now we've gotten to this part where you
Is it
start trying to
Mr.
make
E?
up characters.
Pink Man. Dr.
No,
Pink.
Nope.
Is it Mr. E?
No.
Is it the question of Zuranar?
I'll give you an extra clue, which is this character's catchphrase, which is apparently yoinks.
So I wasn't that far off by trying to guess like Doiby Dickles and shit like that.
I mean, I don't know. I truly don't know where this character really is from, but
Okay, it's wearing a pink trench coat, pink gloves, has a ponytail, and sorry, what was the other clue?
Pink trench coat, pink gloves, awooga glasses.
Oh, the glasses, right?
and
Glasses.
skullet.
And it's not the flamingo.
Nope.
Oh, son of a bitch.
It's not Crimson Avenger.
Yeah, Crimson Avenger didn't like throw his costume in with his whites, and then they all kind of
No.
yeah.
I'm
It's not-
gonna
Pandora.
no. I can be even nicer, and I can tell you that this character's 2 powers are something. I can tell you if you want.
Tell me.
The 2 powers are intangibility and invisibility.
Oh, jeez. I don't know. That doesn't help
The
me.
pink ghost.
No.
The gay ghost.
No.
That's a real character.
Wow. Oh yeah, he's
Didn't
feeling
make
it
that
out.
up.
Fuck me.
This character's affiliation is from Hero Hotline.
Oh, I never read Hero Hotline.
Oh, is that the? Yeah, well, I'm not gonna get.
yeah,
this.
I was never gonna get this. Yeah,
This
I mean,
character's
I read
name-
every Dial H for Hero, but I didn't go to Hero Hotline.
Yeah, I mean, this is fucking bullshit.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you guys were the experts. I apologize.
Will
I'm so sorry.
kill you.
I'm so sorry. This is on me. This character's
The only way to read these comics are to pirate them. Do you think I'm a pirate?
a psycho pirate.
Kiss Chrissy.
Fa, 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 fa. A mother is a boy's best friend. Of course, this is Fred or Dirtbag Fred.
I mean, fuck you.
I'm not even mad. I'm not even mad. I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
because there was no conceivable universe.
that was never gonna happen.
Yeah, unless you had like read all the comic books and claimed to be experts. But I mean, yeah, that didn't happen. So don't worry
No.
about it.
Nobody counts Hero Hotline.
Yeah, this is a push. I think.
No, it does not. If as long as it's a DC property, it
I
counts.
think this is a push.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna say it counts, but I'm not ashamed I didn't get it.
So this is the thing, right? It's the rules
I'm not
matter.
so dignified. I
Yeah.
think this is a
Yeah,
push.
it's the rule. Exactly. It's the
rules
care about
matter,
rules.
but you don't have to follow them.
Yeah. When are you gonna fucking learn?
So here's the difference between the omniverse and the multiverse.
Alex, so that you give the people a platform where they can learn about those things from you. Where can they find you
All
online?
right.
And
If
what do
you
you got
want,
to
you can
promote?
go to dc.com, where I have a regular column where I hold court called Ask the Question, where you send in your questions and I will answer them in meticulous detail.
It's a weirdly specific format.
Well, yeah, but you go to Alex if you want an answer.
Right. Like, you guys get a lot of opinion questions. I get questions about, like, when's the first time Lex Luthor met Supergirl? Or how many aliases does the Joker have? That's the kind of stuff I answer. Stuff that requires actual research and not just stumbling blindly with a stomach full of poutine into the recording.
Yeah.
I don't know, but the thing that you just described sounds fucking metal.
Yeah. I also have a weekly trivia program called Trivia Tuesday in the DC community, where if you want to show up, I will ask you questions that you have to answer correctly. That's a blast. And we're going to keep on doing it every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. Show up, be there. You'll know where to go. There'll be a big banner around.
Looks like I'll be taking Tuesday afternoons off.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I'm your boss.
Not anymore. Not on Tuesday afternoons.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm like, not anymore.
Oh, no. Damn it. I need this job.
Let's see. I need this job.
I have my own podcast called Insert Credit, where I ask questions to the smartest people in the video game industry about the stupidest things I can think of.
Hey.
It's an absolutely terrific time. We just had Chris Kohler and Ash Parrish on the show. That was wonderful.
A podcast where Alex is the Richard.
Yeah.
Yes. I am the Richard of that podcast.
Holy
absolutely.
shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you want to see who's above me, that's how the status ladder goes. What else? I'm covering convention stuff for Popverse, which is Read Pop's blog. That's good stuff.
Yep.
I'm going to be covering New York Comic Con soon. I'm very excited for that.
Nice.
I got a press badge and everything.
Love New York Comic Con.
That's awesome.
My favorite con I've been to.
Good con. Good ass con. But yeah, you hit me up on Alex Jaffe as long as you're not a comic skate person. Then I'll block you.
Alex Jaffe.
Yeah, that's right.
The name.
That's right. And if you want to reach out to us, maybe ask a question for next week's episode.
Yeah, which
thing that we have available to us at the second that I finish asking the question, you will immediately know it because it's information that you have, because that is, of course.
Yeah. So next week, we're talking about like disasters, like the time that like
bad
the time that
books?
like San Diego fell into the sea, or like no man's land in Gotham, or like we're talking the destruction of Coast City. We're talking about big disasters.
Haven.
I've tentatively named the episode "New Aster Who Dis."
Wow,
disaster.
Wow.
Talk about tentatively.
Yeah, I mean, I guess unless you guys don't like it or something. But, yeah, I'm going to make Richard read American Title, the kind of beginning of the Sub Diego arc in comics.
Title, stay away from me.
And we're gonna read that, and yeah, we're gonna talk about disasters. So the destruction of Vladova, like anything like that, any sort of natural disaster or supernatural disaster. That's all on the table for next week.
And you can ask those questions through our various social media platforms, like our Facebook,
Dr. DC Podcast,
Twitter,
at Dr. DC,
Instagram,
Dr. DC Podcast.
Of course, you can send us an email,
drdcpodcast@gmail.com.
You can jump on our subreddit,
r/Dr_DC.
The doc phone is always open.
208-917-3238.
208-917-DCEU.
If you're nasty.
And of course, we are young and cool. That's why we're on TikTok.
At Dr. DC.
We are old and irrelevant. That's why we're on a website.
drdcpodcast.com or .ca.
Of course, why don't you give us a 5-star review? I mean, we're past 200.
Lord of the Rings is happening. You did it.
But for 300,
well, let's get 250.
Sure. I mean, if you want to shoot
250 will get like, I don't know, more tattoos we want or something.
Shut up. No, we don't want them.
Oh,
don't make me
no.
get a
Oh,
DC
don't make us get
Comics tattoo.
nerdy tattoos.
Oh,
no.
That would be.
Unless you give us 250 reviews, then I guess we'll have to.
I have no choice.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Don't do that. Give us those 5-star reviews and we will read them on a future episode of the show. Also, if you want to give us something else, you can give us some physical mail.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
Richard Eden or Reed
Shit.
Vanier at
Shit.
301 Hogue Street.
Fuck.
That's
You said
802
physical mail. I got
Street.
distracted.
White Horse, Yukon, Canada, Y1A 1V8. Also, if you want to support us financially, you can.
Yeah, do you want to be our sugar daddies?
Yeah, yeah, come on, daddies and mommies.
And mummies.
Yeah, why don't you subscribe to our Patreon?
Yeah, patreon.com.
We have a $5 and $8.
No. Patreon.com/Dr. DC.
We have a $7.
There's a $1,
and
$5, and $7 level. All of them give you access to the Discord, our awesome fan community. And at the higher levels, you get bonus episodes, videos, theme pulls, all sorts of fun stuff that helps to support us. And at like the $10 level, we'll show you our little feeties.
Yeah, my little sexy tootsies. You want to see the jam between these tootsies, and you got to pay a few extra
That's
shekels.
so much grosser.
Also, we've got another podcast, Supernatural.
That's right. Ghost Facers,
Rewatch.
a Supernatural rewatch. We're going through every single episode of the CW Supernatural. We just finished season 5, baby. They beat Lucifer. They stopped the apocalypse. How could there be 10 more seasons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like you can destroy God.
Yet.
So subscribe to that podcast, subscribe to our podcast, and of course, watch everything that Alex Jaffe has going on the internet.
That's right.
Find him in person.
Yeah, at New York Comic Con.
Yeah, find him in person. His address is.
Oh, God.
Thank you so much, of course, as always, Alex Jaffe, for coming on.
Of course, we'll do this again very, very soon.
Yeah, baby.
All right, that is it for this week. Say goodbye, Jaffs.
Frodo of the 9 Fingers.
God, I love him so much. Adios.
Ciao, ciao.
All the superheroes, they always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure, they are men of might.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.